Okay, welcome back to another episode of the In the Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Sam Gold. We're outside today. It's a beautiful day. It's late May, which means it's also about a week out from our NFL schedule release, which is why we're here talking about it today. As you see in the title, I'm going to be going through the top 10 games of the 2024 upcoming season that I'm most excited about, that intrigues me the most, that has great storylines, just great players all around. Solid matchups. We got a lot of them. So disclaimer, especially for some of your favorite teams that might not be in the spotlight too often. I might not mention that matchup or your favorite team in this video. I got a lot of the same 7 to 8 teams matching up because I can't help it. They're just great matchups. But I got my top 10. I also have a bunch of honorable mentions that I got to throw in there just because there's so many great matchups that I can't not at least mention them. Before we get to number 10, I'll just say 2 of them. I'll say 2 honorable mentions. Maybe throughout, every other ranking or so, I'll mention another honorable mention. 2 right now. Shout them out. I'm unfortunately not going to have them in the video. Bears Commanders. A reason why I would even consider is because of the Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams storyline. It's pretty simple. Number 1 overall draft pick, number 2 overall draft pick. But the matchup itself is just not good enough. I'm not going to put it in there. Another one is Cowboys 49ers, which, look, it's always hyped up. It's a battle between 2 of the most classic teams in the NFL. But the 49ers just own them. So, honestly, I'm not that excited for it. Because until the Cowboys prove something otherwise, I'm not going to have it in my top 10. Okay, so those are 2 right there off the bat. I have some more coming later. But let's go to our number 10. Our number 10 most exciting matchup of the 2024 NFL season is going to go to Vikings-Falcons in Minnesota, Week 14. Kirk Cousins returning. Kirk Cousins returning. I almost said returning to Atlanta. He's on Atlanta. He's returning to Minnesota to play his former team, the Vikings. Now, look, you're going just based off of the actual matchup itself. We don't really know how good the Vikings are going to be. And the Falcons, they're supposed to be better this year, especially with Kirk Cousins. So the matchup itself, it might not end up being a great game. Although these are 2 franchises where I can just see it becoming one of those shootouts where at the end of the game, both teams are just trying to cost each other the win because that's what it feels like these 2 franchises have done for so many times. They make for great games. And I'm pretty sure this game is at 1 o'clock. So if I had to pick a winner right here in the late May too early, I'm going to pick the Falcons because Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock is basically unstoppable. Now, the Vikings should know that, so maybe they're able to prep for it. But, look, this is so early down the line. The main reason why I picked this game is because Kirk Cousins' revenge game. I mean, he doesn't have any bad blood against the Vikings, but that's how you have to call it if they're returning to their hometown or their old team. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun matchup. Why not? Okay, number 9, I got just, it's not so much this matchup has any particular storylines. I just think it's a solid matchup between 2 teams that are supposed to be good this year, that were good last year, but also had disappointing ends to their season, especially one of these teams, just absolute disaster to end the season, a big collapse. The other team just had a bad championship game. Who am I kidding? Let me get to the matchup. It's Ravens-Eagles. Another reason I picked this, there's something I noticed about my list is I have no division matchups. No interdivisional matchups. Now, if I were to pick something, your classic Steelers-Ravens is always fun. Maybe Chiefs-Chargers, Cowboys-Eagles. But I particularly left out any division matchups because we see it every year. You know what I mean? So the reason why I picked Ravens-Eagles, other than they're just 2 good teams facing off, is, it doesn't happen that often. It happens only every 4 years. And I'm just interested to see how these teams match up. I don't believe we've seen Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson yet. Yeah, no. Because Hurts was drafted in 20. They played each other in 20, but Hurts was not starting by then. So this will be the first time. I'm curious to see how Hurts does in this environment. Now, this is late in the season, so, my thing with the Eagles is that they're the type of team, especially coming off of the disaster of what happened last year. If they start 1-3, 2-4, something like that, and the vibes are just not good, they might start tearing it down, and it's just going to become another shit season for them. So, look, by week 13, if that's the case for the Eagles, it might not be a great matchup. But I'm just going to go off the basis that these are 2 teams competing for the playoffs with great rosters. So, I don't know, Jim Harbaugh versus Nick Sirianni, that should be pretty interesting. And then, Lamar versus Hurts. So, I think it's a pretty good number 9. Number 8. Now, this is another rematch of a playoff game from last year, and it's also another revenge game. It's Jared Goff versus Matt Stafford, Part 2, Lions-Rams. And another reason it's so great is because it's on opening week. It's Sunday Night Football. It's the rematch of the wild card game last year. The Matt Stafford went into Detroit and lost. He got booed as he ran out into the stadium. That was a bit surprising. And then went out and lost. That's a tough look right there. The Lions, this is literally their opening game after having a disappointing end to their season, even though their season was a great season. But they blew it in the championship round. So both teams are looking for vengeance. So to see that matchup again, I'm here for it. It was a great wild card game. It was only a 1-point game. The Lions just barely squeaked out. Matt Stafford's supposed to be fully healthy. Jared Goff's fully healthy. Two great high-powered offenses, two solid coaches in the NFL, two top 5 to 10 coach. I mean, Sean McVay's obviously a top 5 coach, but Dan Campbell's a top 10 coach as well. So I think it's just going to be a really fun game. So, yeah, that's my number 8. Let's go to number 7. Now, this is going to start where my bias comes in. Although, honestly, unbiased, I think I'm about to pick a Chiefs game here. I have 4 Chiefs games coming up in this top 7. Disclaimer. I'm a Chiefs fan, and it might be a little bit biased, but also I think you just can't deny that some of these matchups are just too good to leave alone. So at number 7, I got Chiefs-Texans, Week 16. Now, one of the most intriguing factors of this game is the fact that, look, Mahomes has his rivalries. He plays Burrow a lot. He plays Lamar a lot. He plays Josh Allen a lot. But we have not seen Mahomes versus C.J. Stroud yet. And I've said this multiple times. I think C.J. Stroud has the easy potential after this next season to be a top 3 quarterback already. I see a ton of Mahomes in him. He's got great leadership. They just added Stephon Diggs and Danielle Hunter on their team. They had another good draft. I mean, they're a Super Bowl contender. So to see Chiefs-Texans, especially late in the year, Week 16, it's a Saturday game. That's fun. In Arrowhead, to see C.J. Stroud try to play in that environment when both teams might be playing for the 1 seed if they're all healthy. So Chiefs-Texans, who knows? Burrow has owned the Chiefs, except for one championship game. I'm curious to see if Stroud is just one of those quarterbacks again, because he reminds me a lot of Burrow as well. Very poised in the pocket, very confident in himself, but humble at the same time. Great throwing in the pocket. So I don't know. I mean, DeMeco Ryans, that would be cool to see how he matches up trying to game plan against Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know, it's another one of those matchups where it's I haven't seen this before, and at the end of the season, this is going to have a lot of stakes behind it. So Chiefs-Texans, that's only at number 7, which means we got a lot of great games to go, which means I'm going to take another pit stop and mention 2 more honorable mentions before we get to our number 6. Let's just get it out of the way, Cowboys-Texans, the battle. I believe it's a Sunday or a Monday night game, I forget. It is a primetime game, though. But battle of the Texas teams, Dak Prescott versus C.J. Stroud, 2 teams that are supposed to probably make the playoffs this year. So that's one of my honorable mentions. Another one is Bears-Texans. I haven't mentioned his name yet. Actually, I did mention it for Bears Commanders, excuse me. But Caleb Williams versus C.J. Stroud. I mean, if Caleb Williams is really all that's hyped up to be, that's another great quarterback matchup right there. Those are 2 more honorable mentions. Let's get to number 6, though. Number 6, I have Lions 49ers, the rematch of the NFC Championship game. Now, it's in San Francisco once again. It's in primetime. It's Week 17, Monday Night Football. Battle possibly for the 1 seed if the Lions and Niners are both just as good as they were last year again. Jared Goff, he wants his revenge. I mean, they went into San Francisco and had a 24-7 lead in the NFC Championship game. And they came out with no Super Bowl appearance. So, look, we don't know how these teams are going to end up in Week 17, but if they're around the same as they were last year, this is going to have probably one of the highest stakes out of any game this entire season. And this is only at number 6. Maybe I should put it higher, honestly. How often? We have this season coming up a rematch of the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, and the Super Bowl all in the same season. So that's pretty fun. So yeah, Lions, 49ers, number 6. All right, here's your top 5. Now this one might be a little bit controversial. I'm probably leaning on the storyline a little too much because one of these teams might end up sucking this year. I don't know. And it's week 12. So this team might suck by week 12. I'm going Chargers-Ravens. Now, the main reason I'm doing this, obviously, is the Harbaugh brothers. Jim Harbaugh is the new coach of the Chargers. John Harbaugh's been on the Ravens forever. It's Lamar versus Justin Herbert. People are hyping up the Chargers this year. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but just for the sole purpose of the storyline, it's two of these teams that always play a fun game in primetime. I believe this is in primetime as well. Sunday Night Football, I think, week 12. It just feels like teams that are going to deliver a good product when they play each other. Like, just the Harbaugh brothers, it's going to be, look, even if the Chargers aren't a playoff team, they're going to be frisky just because of how well coached they're going to be, especially if Justin Herbert's healthy. So Justin Herbert versus Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, I got to put that in there. Even Chargers-Ravens last year with shitty coaching was a close game in primetime. So it might be a little too high now that I'm thinking about it. Like, would I rather watch Lions-Niners over Chargers-Ravens? Maybe. But I don't know, man. Coaching's important, and that's a fun matchup. We haven't seen that literally since Super Bowl 43. I might have gotten that wrong. But the Super Bowl with the Ravens and 49ers. No, it's 47. Sorry. I think it's Super Bowl 47. Okay. Number 4. This might... Look, here's the thing. I said there were going to be 4 Chiefs games. I mentioned 1 already. We're in our top 4. There's 3 left. I apologize to the people that hate the Chiefs, but you can't deny that these matchups are just so great. Number 4 is Chiefs-Bengals, week 2. Now, Al, off camera, said that this shouldn't even be in the top 10. Now, I was shocked because I actually would almost argue this is the biggest Chiefs matchup, and I'm putting it at number 4. Because, first of all, Mahomes has still not proved that he can beat Burrow in the regular season. And Burrow was injured the last time we played in week 17 last year. So Burrow didn't get to play him last year. He's coming back from injury. This is early in the season. I mean, they gave the Chiefs a gauntlet for their first 2 games. Luckily, both of them are at home. We're playing the Ravens and then the Bengals right off the bat. This is not a primetime game. They got that 4:25 slot with Jim Nantz and Romo. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure listening to Romo talk about fucking Patrick Mahomes. Look, obviously, I'd rather have it that they're hyping up Patrick Mahomes, but even I'm getting sick of Tony Romo. Like, I hate when they do the Chiefs game. It's always annoying. But yeah, this is a time for the Chiefs to prove that, look, we just came off of back-to-back Super Bowls. The Bengals don't even have a ring. Joe Burrow, yeah, come back. Come back healthy. Get all the hype behind you. You're the only guy that can save us from the Chiefs doing a three-peat, whatever. The Chiefs have a chance here, especially if they come off a week 1 win, they have a chance here to just shush the entire league and be like, no, we're going to beat not only the Ravens, but the Bengals with Joe Burrow coming back. And we're just going to start off 2-0 right after winning back-to-back Super Bowls. So there's a chance for that to happen, but there's also a chance for the Bengals to be like, did you guys forget about us? Because we were a championship team 2 years in a row. We went to the Super Bowl 3 years ago, and we have Mahomes' number except for 1 game. And we're back, and we're going to come in Arrowhead and spoil them. So a lot can happen in this game. I mean, they're already one of the biggest rivalries, if not the biggest rivalry in the NFL of the last 3-4 seasons. So yeah, that's going to be a highly... I'm nervous for the game, and it's only late May. Like, the Bengals are one of the only teams that makes me truly, truly nervous as a Chiefs fan. I can admit that. Okay, I'll mention my last honorable mention, Packers-Texans. I don't know, it just seems like a good matchup. Jordan Love, I have not mentioned the Packers today. Unfortunately, they're not going to make my top 3. Although the Packers are one of those teams, I'm going to save my prediction for the entire season for later in the summer. But I have a lot of high hopes for the Packers. And I probably should have mentioned a few of their games, at least more in the honorable mentions. But Packers-Texans, that's another great matchup. Love versus C.J. Stroud. I think it's going to be a shootout. 2 solid young coaches. Yeah, so that's another honorable mention. Okay, here's our top 3. The moment we've all been waiting for. Now... just like Chargers-Ravens, this might be me missing football too much in this offseason that's starting to become boring now that the schedule releases out. There's going to be nothing happening until training camp. This might be me longing for storylines in football. It's Jets-49ers. Now, another way that this game is propped up is that it's Monday Night Football. It's week 1 to open the season. They're putting Aaron Rodgers on Monday Night Football in week 1 again. Now, it's not at MetLife, so maybe he won't have to deal with that fucking turf that everybody hates. But he's going into San Francisco, a team that just went to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is from California. His favorite team growing up was the 49ers. So there's a storyline there. And then obviously everybody's literally just going to be staring at his fucking Achilles the entire game, especially the first quarter. It's going to be similar to like when Alex Smith made his return after his leg almost disintegrated in 2018, and then he came back in 2020 and played the Rams. Al, I don't know if you remember this, but Alex Smith literally came back from that injury, and on the first snap, Aaron Donald comes and sacks him. And everybody's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this guy's going to die immediately. Like, so that's how we're going to be holding our breath when Nick Bosa is rushing and trying to get Aaron Rodgers on the first play. But look, everybody's interested to see how the Jets do. Are they going to bounce back? Or are they going to do the funniest thing to ever exist and Aaron Rodgers just immediately gets hurt again? I don't know. That's why I'm intrigued by it, and that's why it's number 3. Yes, but I might crack a chuckle if that happens. Might crack a chuckle. All right. Yeah, and the 49ers are also the 49ers. Like, they're going to be in a lot of primetime games. They're the Super Bowl. They were the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's a good matchup. Okay, people are going to hate me for this top 2. They're both Chiefs games. I'm sorry, but they're great matchups. I'm sorry, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. What else do you want from me? At least they're good matchups because number 2 is the Super Bowl rematch, Chiefs 49ers. How often are you going to get a Super Bowl rematch the season right after? Now, this time, it's especially going to be hostile because it's in San Francisco. Week 7, 425, which weirdly was the Chiefs 49ers matchup in San Francisco 2 years ago, was week 7, 425. So I don't know. But, I mean, how much more do I really need to say about this game other than it's the Super Bowl rematch? Like the 49ers. Chiefs fans, if you want to go see that game, good luck. I don't know how much you're going to enjoy getting harassed by the 49ers fans, especially if we're losing. Even if we're winning, it's kind of a lose-lose. Like, I don't really advise Chiefs fans to go to this game in person because you're rather going to be harassed and bullied for losing, or if you win, someone might want to get in a fight with you because they're so pissed off. So I don't know. I wouldn't go to that game, but I'm sure going to watch it on TV. That's for sure. Yeah, this is like the America's game slot. I love a nice 425 game. It's going to be in the spotlight with the Kevin Burkhardt. Tom Brady's doing this game. But yeah, I mean, literally, the 49ers are going to be pissed off. But if the Chiefs get off to one of these good starts, like if they go 2-0, like I said earlier, playing the Ravens and Bengals, like they're going to come in cocky. And we'll see how they handle this game because, you know, this might sound spoiled. This is not coming from me as a Chiefs fan. I'm talking about the Chiefs themselves. Like they kind of sleepwalk through this regular season sometimes. Like they might look at this game like, sure, this is your Super Bowl now, 49ers. Like, if we win, great. We're still better than you. And if you guys beat us, we're not that worried because we beat you in the Super Bowl twice. And that might sound cocky, but that might be how the Chiefs are thinking. Or they're thinking, this is the best team we're going to face all season. We got to shape up, put in our best game plan, and fucking beat them. So I don't know. That's what's going to happen. It's a Super Bowl rematch. It's hard not to put it in the top 3. All right, drum roll. Number 1 matchup of the season. Week 1, Thursday night, season opener, AFC Championship rematch in Arrowhead. It's going to be Chiefs versus Ravens. How much more do I need to say? I mean, this is a pretty obvious number 1, I feel like. Now, we're talking about the 49ers having bad blood against the Chiefs and wanting revenge. How about the Ravens? I mean, thank God this game was not in Baltimore, or else, yeah, Chiefs fans, don't go to that game either. But the big storylines, like, just like the Lions last year played spoiler with us hanging the banner and then beating us by 1 point. Like, this is exactly what the Ravens have been waiting for. Like, you know, it's almost better for both teams that you just get this game out of the way. Just, you know, get the bad blood out of the way. And I think it's better for the Chiefs, though. Like, if the Ravens start off the season and the Chiefs just beat them again, it's just going to be so demoralizing. But, like, if the Chiefs beat them, it's like, yep, still better. Like, raise the banner. Everything's going great for us. So I think there's a lot more pressure on the Ravens this time around. But I think the Ravens are also a lot more angry. They're going to want that revenge. So they might want it a little bit more than the Chiefs, which might result in them winning. But we'll see. I don't know. I think it's crazy that we're getting a game out of the way week 1 that's going to have huge playoff implications already. I was surprised that they put this. I thought it was going to be Chiefs-Texans week 1. And no, they put a Chiefs-Ravens, which I'm excited for. That's great. It's a great matchup. But I thought they were just going to put this like week 16, week 17, just because there's so many implications. But the NFL said, fuck it. We're putting it right at the beginning. Let each other fight, and let's see what happens. I don't know. So I'm worried. I'm interested. Chiefs-Ravens. I mean, there's a big rivalry last year. A lot of shit talking. People hate Kelsey on the Ravens. Not only their fans, but the team. They hate Kelsey. That's going to be, I'm sure Taylor Swift's going to be there in week 1. There's going to be tons of storylines. So, look, it's a hype game 1, and there's going to be a lot of bad blood. So, yeah, that's my number 1. Those were all my honorable mentions as well. That's my top 10. Please comment down below what you guys think should be changed from this list, what your number 1 game of the season is, what your favorite team is, and do you think, a game that I missed that I didn't even mention today should have been on the list? Because there's so many great matchups this season, I'm going to miss a lot. So, yeah, please comment down below what you guys think. Follow us, _InTheHuddle_ on TikTok, and then @InTheHuddlePod on Instagram. Please like and subscribe, comment, interact with us. We love interacting with you guys, responding to comments. Just let us know what more type of videos you want to do, because we're having a lot of fun. We're really hitting the offseason now. Like, the schedule release was really the last bit of the offseason that's interesting until training camp. So we're going to come out with some other, fun videos, more football related as well. But, yeah, we're excited to make more content for you guys. Thank you for watching. Yes, thank you for the support on the recent videos. We just hit our first time ever 2 videos in a row with over 1,000 views and a lot of comments. So we're really hoping it picks up the pace. Really appreciate you guys. So yeah, please like and subscribe, comment, interact with us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week for another video. Bye-bye.